Saint Andrew, also known as Andrew the Apostle, was a Christian apostle and the older brother to Saint Peter. According to the New Testament, Andrew was born in the village of Bethsaida on the Sea of Galilee during the early 1st century. Much like his younger brother, Simon Peter, Andrew was also a fisherman. Andrew's very name means strong, and he was known for having good social skills.
Yes, Andrew, much of what we know about him actually comes from the Holy Scriptures. He was one of the first that Jesus called. In the Gospel of Matthew chapter 4, he was called on the Sea of Galilee alongside his brother. He's called the brother to Simon Peter. And even among the Greek Catholics, he's called the Protocletus, that is, the first called. And he's celebrated very highly as one of the first, in fact the first whom Jesus called.
Just like Saint Andrew, Honorable Umeoji was born to the family of late Umeoji on the 30th of November 1936 in a relatively peaceful town called Ezinefite. Umeoji family sprung from Obeago clan, Ezionye village, Aku zone, Ezinefite community of the present-day Agwata local government area of Anambra State. Having tasted the painful experience of losing his mother, Honorable Andy never gave up his conquest in carving a niche for himself through the corridors of life's struggle. Consequently, he was looked after by his maternal grandmother, in whose arms he found love, tender care, and abiding joy.
Honorable Andy Umeoji, popularly known as Major Andrew Umeoji, a wonderful man, and I see him also having a wonderful personality himself, a man of strong character, a man of strong faith, and all of these you see exemplified in the kind of children that he raised. He lived an amazing life, and through him, you come to see a lot who have come to experience the goodness of God. He was not an apostle per se. He didn't have to evangelize the gospel, carrying the Bible up and down, but he evangelized his own gospel by making life easy for those who actually found life difficult.
By Christian tradition, Saint Andrew went on to preach the good news around the shores of the Black Sea and throughout what is now Greece and Turkey. Little else is said about Andrew in the Gospels, but it is believed that Saint Andrew was one of the closer disciples to Jesus. It was he who told Jesus about the boy with the loaves and fishes, according to John 6:8. When Philip wanted to speak to Jesus about Greeks seeking him, he spoke to Andrew first. Andrew was also present at the Last Supper. Years of existence never justifies man's worth. Rather, his charming lifestyle, positive influence, and selfless works are evidently traits of his greatness. Unarguably, only few men after God's heart possess such abnormal qualities. Amongst these few was a man of exceptional intellect, a convincing motivator, loving husband, caring father, dependable friend, and an icon of exemplary leadership. A feisty and impassioned servant of God, whose modus vivendi was worthy of emulation. All of these great attributes can only be accorded to one man, Honorable Major Andy Okonkwo Umeoji, KSJI, one whose idealism of life was distinct.
I met him shortly before he became sick, and all that period he was sick, I knew and prayed for him to recover, but God had his will. He was very committed to bringing people closer to God, first his family and all those around him. By the things he said and by the things he did, he drew people closer to God. don't forget also that he was a Knight of St. John, and as a Knight of St. John, he also contributed his quota in promoting the church, in defending the church, and in planting the church wherever he found himself, beginning with his house, beginning with his family.
St. Andrew is venerated in Georgia as the first preacher of Christianity in that territory, and in Cyprus for having struck the rocks, creating a gush of healing waters upon landing on the shore. His saltire cross is featured on the flag of Scotland and is represented in much of his iconography. He is commonly portrayed as an old man with white long hair and a beard, often holding the gospel book or a scroll. St. Andrew is the patron saint of fishermen and singers. He is also the patron saint to Honorable Andy Umeoji and several countries and cities, including Scotland, Romania, Russia, Ukraine, and Patras, and his feast day is celebrated on November 30th. The life and times of Honorable Umeoji were marked by dull austerity to support pitiable children and widows. He gave life his best and shared all that heaven had to offer in his full capacity. Emphatically, words are aptly inexplicable in telling his effervescent personality. What then is living if our lives do not add value to people around us? When we marry and watch others squallow in fetters of pain and abounding hunger. This did he believe, and his lifestyle never fell short of it. Honorable Umeoji believed in living a life of influence. His cosmopolitan benevolence impartially extended to all races, and without discrimination, he showed love in its warm brightness to all and sundry that crossed his path. He was one with admirable reserve and pleasing persona. Little wonder he stands in the perfect mold of Father Abraham of our time. Though this rare colossus is gone, but his beautiful memories and laudable works are boldly engraved in the hearts of his loved ones, who moved mountains with trumpets and drums of praise in celebration of a life well lived. Andrew's remains were originally preserved at Patras. However, some believe St. Regulus, who was a monk at Patras, received a vision telling him to hide some of Andrew's bones. Shortly after Regulus' dream, many of Andrew's relics were transferred to Constantinople by order of Roman Emperor Constantinos II around 357. Regulus later received orders in a second dream telling him to take the bones to the ends of the earth. He was to build a shrine for them wherever he shipwrecked. He landed on the coast of Fife, Scotland. In September 1964, Pope Paul VI had all of St. Andrew's relics that ended up in Vatican City sent back to Patras. Now, many of Andrew's relics and the cross on which he was martyred are kept in the Church of St. Andrew in Patras. The family left no stone unturned to give him a first-rate burial ceremony fit only for kings. The celebration of life beamed with rousing fanfare with friends, family, as well as dignitaries numbering hundreds present at the various ceremonies, all in the bid to witness the final farewell of this great man, Honorable Major Andy Okonkwo Umeoji. This documentary is powered by Wowcatholic.com.